Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. What if I told you there was an eighth continent on Earth, a landmass nearly the size of Australia, lost for millions of years? And what if I told you it's been hiding in plain sight this whole time, submerged beneath the waves of the Pacific Ocean? This isn't a myth or a legend. This is the story of Zealandia, or as it's known in the Maori language, Te Reo Maui. Today, we're diving deep into the stunning rediscovery of a lost world, its birth from a supercontinent, its slow drowning, and the unique life it left behind. For hundreds of millions of years, Earth was a different place. Most of the land in the southern hemisphere was fused together into one colossal supercontinent called Gondwana. It was a union of what would become South America, Africa, India, Australia, and Antarctica. And on the southeastern edge of this immense landmass, the land that would one day be Zealandia was being formed. It wasn't a separate island. It was an integral part of Gondwana's fringe, a dynamic zone of mountain building and volcanoes. Its oldest rocks tell a story of an ancient lineage, with origins stretching back over 1 billion years to even older supercontinents. For millions of years, it was simply part of the Great Southern Land. But continents don't stay still. The breakup of Gondwana was a slow, epic divorce that unfolded over tens of millions of years, all driven by the relentless power of plate tectonics. The first cracks appeared around 180 million years ago, as Africa began to tear away. But the crucial moment for Zealandia came much later, around 100 million years ago. Imagine a vast sheet of pizza dough being pulled apart from all sides. As you pull, the center gets thinner and thinner, almost transparent. That's exactly what happened to the section of Gondwana that contained Australia, Antarctica, and Zealandia. Tectonic forces stretched the continental crust, making it dangerously thin. The final decisive break happened between 83 and 79 million years ago. As Zealandia pulled away from Australia and Antarctica, the Tasman Sea began to form between them. This separation was a messy, twisting process that left Zealandia's crust significantly thinner than any other continent. While a typical continent has a crust about 40 kilometers thick, Zealandia's is often only 10 to 20 kilometers thick. This fundamental weakness would seal its fate. By about 52 million years ago, the seafloor spreading stopped, and Zealandia was left alone, an isolated continent adrift in the Pacific. Having broken free, Zealandia began a solitary journey. For a time, it might have been an extensive landmass, entirely above sea level, but the very forces that created it were now conspiring to sink it. The thinned, stretched crust simply couldn't support its own weight. As the hot, stretched crust cooled and contracted, it began to subside, sinking lower and lower. The waters of the Pacific slowly crept in. It was a drowning that took millions of years. By about 23 million years ago, scientists believe that almost all of Zealandia had sunk beneath the waves. Today, a staggering 94% of the continent is submerged, lying at an average depth of over 1 kilometer. The only parts we see are its highest mountain peaks, which we know as New Zealand and New Caledonia. This sinking story isn't over. Zealandia is still geologically active. It's sliced in two by the boundary between the Pacific and Australian tectonic plates. In the east, one plate dives under the other, creating deep trenches and a chain of volcanoes. In the south, the plates grind past each other along the Alpine Fault, a motion that has violently uplifted the magnificent southern Alps of New Zealand. The idea of a sunken landmass in this region isn't entirely new. When the Dutch explorer Abel Tasman first sighted New Zealand in the 17th century, he was unknowingly gazing at the highest peaks of this hidden continent. But it wasn't until 1995 that American geophysicist Bruce Luyendijk formally proposed the name Zealandia for this distinct geological entity. The real turning point came with technology. Satellite gravity mapping and advanced ocean floor surveys allowed scientists to peer through the water and map the crust below. The data was undeniable. The rock beneath this huge elevated area of the seafloor was continental crust, not oceanic. In 2017, a team of geologists published a landmark paper arguing that Zealandia met all the criteria for a continent: its large area, its elevation relative to the ocean floor, its distinct geology, and its well-defined boundaries. The eighth continent was officially on the map. Then, in 2023, scientists announced another monumental achievement. They had completely mapped the entire 5 million square kilometer continent, revealing a giant volcanic region forged during the breakup of Gondwana. For the indigenous Maori people of Aotearoa, New Zealand, this hidden land is not a new discovery, but a part of their ancient heritage. The name Te Reo a Maui translates to the hills, valleys, and plains of Maui. In Polynesian tradition, the great navigator Maui is said to have fished the North Island of New Zealand out of the sea. The name connects the physical continent to this foundational story of exploration and creation. The official dual name, Te Reo a Maui/Zealandia, beautifully recognizes that science and indigenous oral tradition are two powerful ways of understanding our world. So what kind of life evolved on this isolated, sinking continent? The parts that remained above water, New Zealand and New Caledonia, became unique evolutionary laboratories. Before humans arrived, New Zealand was a land of birds. With no ground-dwelling mammalian predators, birds evolved to fill every ecological niche. There were the giant moa, some standing over 3 meters tall, hunted by the formidable Haast's eagle, the largest eagle known to have ever existed. There are still the iconic flightless kiwi and the kakapo, the world's only flightless parrot. Zealandia is also home to the tuatara, a reptile whose ancestors walked with the dinosaurs. The plant life is just as special, with ancient kauri and rimu trees acting as living links to the forests of Gondwana. New Caledonia is a similar story, a biodiversity hotspot with an incredible number of unique plants and animals, including the kagu, a near-flightless bird found nowhere else on Earth. Sadly, the arrival of humans, first Maori and later Europeans, brought predators like rats and stoats, leading to a wave of extinctions that wiped out the moa, the Haast's eagle, and many others. Much of what we've learned about Zealandia's deep past comes from drilling into the sea floor. The International Ocean Discovery Program has sent research ships to collect core samples, which are like geological time capsules. A major expedition in 2017 recovered thousands of meters of core, and the fossils inside revolutionized our understanding. Microscopic shells and ancient pollen revealed that parts of Zealandia were once much shallower, even rising above sea level, and that it once had a much warmer climate. The cores also provided evidence for a massive tectonic upheaval about 50 million years ago, an event that helped create the Pacific's Ring of Fire and dramatically changed Zealandia's geography. This hidden continent isn't just a scientific marvel, it also holds significant economic potential. The same geological processes that shaped it also created resources. The Taranaki Basin, off New Zealand's coast, is a major source of oil and gas. The emergent parts of Zealandia are already mined for gold, and the submerged continent likely holds deposits of other valuable minerals. By proving that this area is a natural prolongation of its land territory, New Zealand has successfully used international law to claim sovereign rights over a vast extended continental shelf, securing access to the resources of the seabed. The exploration of Zealandia is far from over. The complete map from 2023 has raised as many new questions as it has answered. Future research using robotic submarines and advanced seismic imaging will continue to peel back the layers of this underwater world. Why did Zealandia stretch so much? What did its landscape truly look like millions of years ago? How did life adapt to such a dramatic sinking? The story of Zealandia is a powerful reminder that our planet is constantly changing, and that there are still vast, undiscovered worlds right here on Earth. The lost continent, hidden for so long, is finally giving up its secrets, and its story is only just beginning. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.